Hi, everybody. You're now experiencing the Gretna Bill Show.
Yo, good morning. Jessica, how are you?
Good. Good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. Can
Perfect.
you? All right. Hey, welcome to the Gretna Bill Show. Thanks for coming on.
Certainly. Thanks for having me on.
You got a really nice room there.
I know. I'm actually as you can see behind me here, I'm at the bike shop this morning. I figured that was just a better place. I feel like no one really needed to see my living room or watch my dog and cat tromp through while we were talking. So I figured this was a much better location.
No, that's awesome. I watch all these Zoom podcasts of people at their home, even like CNBC or CNN. And
right.
I always thought, and then the kids come in and they got to wave and all that stuff, or the cat's walking around, or they have like really staged libraries behind them of all the important books. It's like they've read them all, And so there was always a bit of, phoniness there going on sort of in my mind. But now I see your point here.
Exactly. I mean, much better location. And I'm also going to say, the internet at my house is sometimes not the best. So I'm like, great, I'm probably going to lose this Zoom talk halfway through. And I'm not the best with computers. So I know you'd lose me and I'd never figure out how to get it back again.
Got it.
So this is the safest location.
Very good. So, how long have you been riding and training for endurance events? I know you just got done with Crush the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that go? How was the race itself before you answer the previous part of that question?
So answer the question about the race first. It was by far the most physically and mentally challenging thing I have ever done on a bike.
Whoa.
And it was the same yet different than a lot of things I've ever done also. So, the same, I've done 24-hour races. Okay. A lot of people said, well, if you can ride for 24 hours, this shouldn't be that different. But it was, because you were out there alone. There were no pit stops to get things. You had to carry everything with you. You had to just know that there was no way to get to the end except to pedal. So there was the same yet different. And I think that's why it made it so physically and mentally challenging, because at a 24-hour race, if you want to stop and take a break, you can. If you want to sleep for a while, you can. You have your home base there all the time. There was nothing. It was just me, my bike, and the open road in front of me. And there was no turning back. There was no way to get to the end except to keep pedaling. So that's what made it very, like I said, very mentally and physically challenging.
Good point about having a home base to hang out in. We've done a lot of 24-hour races. We actually had a corporate team in the Seven Springs when they had the 24-hour there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we actually won the corporate challenge cup. So I only rode maybe like 6 hours or so, but the weather was really shitty the one day, and foggy and raining in the middle of the night. And so we pulled over and like got into my van and like got all warm and had some soup and shit. So that option is not available, to your point. Right?
Right. And you bring that up about getting in the van and getting warm. At 24-hour races, my husband and I, we always have our van there, our home base, and it's our pit stop. And there was one point during Crush the Commonwealth where it was raining, it was sleeting, it was 40 degrees. It was riding down this busy highway with tractor trailers zooming by us at 55 miles an hour.
Yikes.
And I hit one of those rock bottom places where I turned to my husband and said, I just really wish we had our van here right now, because if we did, I would crawl in it and get warm right now. And that was the really challenging part, because you just knew that wasn't an option.
So good. So your total time was like 33 hours?
Correct.
That's pretty good. How did that how did that go in the standings for you? Relatively speaking, how'd you do with the rest of the women?
Got it. So 33 hours was a good time. Well, I'd like to say that it was. I think that it was. With the standings, I believe the fastest time this year, which was a new record for this event, was just under 24 hours. I'm not sure how far under, but just under 24 hours. The leading woman, I believe, finished in, and don't quote me on this, I want to say maybe 28, 29 hours or so. I was the second woman to finish in 33 hours. And as far as the rest of the riders, there were people who took 60 hours to complete this event, who stopped overnight in hotels, who stayed to sleep for the night, who, rode slower and made it more of a, not as much of a race, but just an event. So the number of people who rode straight through, who were in the 20-ish to low 30 timeframe was not the norm. So that's where I feel 33 hours to just ride straight on through and get it done was a very, very respectable time frame.
That's awesome. Our local, one of our local riders that we know, Steve Gurgley, right down the road here in Manheim, Pennsylvania, he broke his own record this year. So
yes,
that's him, Steve, right?
Okay.
I think he ended up 21 or 22 and change.
Okay.
And last year he did it in 23 some.
Got it.
He had an anchor last year, Scott Gray, another local boy. That's what he says. So, yeah. So how did you get when did your interest start in endurance riding and racing?
So my interest started, I've been in, we'll say, endurance sports for quite some time now. I actually, a little backstory, when I was in undergrad in college, so we're going to date myself and say 20 odd years ago, I led the college lifestyle. I admit I drank a lot of beer, I ate a lot of pizza. I did nothing except sit around and be sedentary. And it just at one point in time clicked. And I just said, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm not healthy. I'm not living my life the way I should. And I just decided at that point in time, okay, I'm gonna run a 5K and I'm gonna give that a try. And then that led to, I'm gonna run a marathon, I'm gonna do a triathlon, I'm gonna do an Ironman triathlon. I just kind of snowballed from one to the other. I really got into mountain biking maybe, I'm gonna say 10, 15 years ago. And same thing, started as, I'm just going to mountain bike to get off the roads for a little bit. And then that turned into, maybe I'll try an XC race. And once again, just snowballed. And here I am now doing 24-hour mountain bike races, doing these crazy long endurance events. And like I said, it started mainly as just turning into a healthy lifestyle and then just snowballed from there.
That's a great story. I often regret my college years too. Like, whoa. Drinking beer and playing darts. I mean, come on. So, which is interesting because I'm watching the Giro here. Stage 3 is going on, sort of on my phone. And, it's younger and younger, as you know, in the whole road scene, younger and younger guys that are so not only physically trained, but mentally, they're so up for their challenge. And they're actually starting, 12, 13, 14 years old. And I think, whoa, wonder what I would have been like cycling if I would have actually applied myself at an earlier age. And I started cycling when I was like 40.
Right.
Stupid. Anyway, what is your schedule this year? I was looking at it. It seems pretty aggressive, and we're really proud to be a part of that. Lupine lighting systems, obviously, you're going to need those.
Right.
So what's the schedule looking like this year? And, kind of overlay that onto how last year's schedule was kind of partially aborted, et cetera. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So the schedule this year, like you said, I'm glad to have Lupine as part of this because there will be a lot of Lupine light usage throughout the schedule this year because it's just jam-packed with, 24-hour races mainly. I actually have one coming up this weekend. Crazy enough, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. Body still needs a little bit of time to recover, but we're going to give it a try. And then essentially a 24-hour race pretty much every month from now until September. So, like I said, lots of Lupine light usage, lots of night riding, lots of long endurance events coming up this year, and just trying to enjoy the ride.
And those are all solo, right? Of course.
Also, yes, good question. All solo. Mm-hmm. Yep,
and
all a solo rider.
How many did you get into last year, if any?
So yes, good point. Going back to your how did last year influence this year? So last year there was only one, I have to think about this for a second. One 24-hour race that happened last year, early on in the year. So I was able to get that one in, and then the rest got deferred until this year. So this year is kind of a repeat. A lot of entries rolled over until this year. And last year was one 24-hour race. And then just a lot of smaller local races as things would pop up and people would be like, hey, I think we can have a race this weekend.
Yeah.
I'd do it. Not really my thing to do the shorter races, but something was better than nothing last year.
Yeah, I saw you, I think, at a couple Mid-Atlantic Super Series races, Gretna in particular.
Yep.
As my memory serves me. Are you going to do any mass races this year?
I'm not sure yet. And the reason why I say that is because with 24-hour races, obviously there's a lot of leeway beforehand where I need time to get ready, a lot of recovery afterwards. So mass races will be kind of a last minute, hey, I feel great this weekend, or I feel ready to go. Sure, I'll just jump into this local race. They're not distinctively on the schedule, but they're planned to just be kind of a depends how I feel sort of day.
What's going to be your furthest race from home that you're going to attend this year?
So the furthest race from home will probably be a 24-hour race coming up in June in Alabama. So that's going to be, as far as distance-wise, I believe about a 15-hour drive. Although as I say that, this weekend is a 24-hour race in Missouri. June is Alabama. August will be New Hampshire. September will be Michigan. So all over the place, getting out and about, putting that camper van to good use this year.
Sounds great. So tell us a little bit about your rig in terms of lights and what bike you're riding, of course. And let me ask you this, are you in the hallowed halls of Saucony Valley Bikes by any chance?
I am, yes. This is, yes, as I said, I'm at the bike shop. So it is Saucony Valley Bikes that I'm at here, my local bike shop and local supporter. So, and I will say, carry a wide selection of Lupine lights. So yes, that's where I'm sitting right now. Mm-hmm.
Good to hear. So yeah, that's great. So what bike are you going to be riding and how are you going to equip it with Lupine? Are you going to use 2 lights, 1 light, so on and so forth? Go ahead.
So I'm a 1 light fan. I know a lot of people do 2 lights, but I just find that to be too much sometimes for me personally. So I actually have, there we go. It's in the screen. So this is my Lupine setup. So
that's a beautiful helmet, I might add. Holy cow.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm all about the color. Matches nicely. So this is my setup for any night ride, any race. You can see I've got my Lupine Pico 1900 on the top here. And what I do then is I have the cord that goes all the way through my helmet. And then I keep my battery pack attached to light cord, obviously, in my back pocket. So that's how I do my setup. I don't put the battery on the helmet because for me, I find that just to be a little bulky. So I'll have battery in back pocket and then light on helmet, obviously.
Nice setup. In fact, when you're doing those long endurance events, the bigger batteries are way better and they're not really made to be put on the back of the helmet.
Exactly.
So, good call. Nice setup. And what bike will you be riding?
So mountain bike, I have a Live Peak Advance. It's a full suspension XC race bike. And for me, it's the perfect bike. It fits well. It works well. It's gotten me through races again and again and again.
Nice. Very nice. Mm-hmm. So, generally, I want to talk about training just a bit. And right. So maybe you could bring us through like a 6th month, because obviously, the holidays are always a little bit broken up, and then you start getting serious. So is that pretty much the case with you? Are you like at any given point less than like 10 hours a week? I mean, obviously on a recovery week you are, but normally, and what's your build up to these 24-hour races? How's that look like, on a weekly basis and then on a 6-month basis?
Got it. So I don't really do a build up per se. Yes, I know. And I should say in the beginning, when you read, when I started training and you read a lot of those training resources, they say, build up to your particular period of time, do your base mileage, then do your, high intensity, things like that. At this point in time in my life, I've kind of just gotten to the point where I just want to ride my bike and have a good time. So structured training, okay, maybe I'll push it hard some days, maybe I won't, but I just go out to ride and have a good time and enjoy it. My basic training, there's really not many weeks that are less than 10 hours to answer your question. I mean, a lot of weeks when it is in the wintertime and I'm trying to get in longer rides, the typical week is maybe 15-ish hours, give or take a little bit. And that also involves some strength training and some cross training. Now in the summertime, when I'm scaling it back a little bit, average week is 12 to 13 hours. And still with just mainly riding, just a little bit of strength training here and there. And then recovery weeks will be, before or after a race. Just depends on how I feel. 8-9 hours, maybe.
How much of that is, excuse me, how much of that is road or gravel? Or is it all mountain bike?
It's about 50-50. So I do, like I said, 50-50. I commute one day during the week. So that's going to be road. That's kind of rail trail. And then weekends, a lot of times will be a destination ride somewhere, Michaud State Forest or Rothrock State Forest or something to get in some good time on the mountain bike. But I prefer the mountain bike. I like mountain biking better, but road is just a lot easier to do straight out the front door from home. So I would say 50-50 road and mountain.
So relative to your nutrition, in general, like over a period of a week, but then also I wanted to ask you about, your race nutrition, race day, especially like, would you focus on like 100 grams of carbs an hour, stuff like that? But generally, right. Your general nutrition, are you like vegan or vegetarian, or are you a keto person? So how's that go?
It's a very good question. And
are you still eating pizza? Drinking beer like we all
pizza.
do.
I love pizza. There's nothing better than pizza after a really hard ride. No, I am not vegan or vegetarian. I do a lot of, though, kind of the goal with my eating is very, home cooked. Everything's made at home. Everything, I don't do a lot of takeout or anything like that. And a lot of, we'll say natural foods. I try and do as much whole wheat as possible. Not a lot of extras on top of things. So home cooked, very, very natural, very just, I don't know, I guess I'd say like from the earth, just a lot of straightforward fruits and vegetables and things. But yeah, pizza. I enjoy pizza. I enjoy beer. I enjoy whiskey. So those are part of my general nutrition also, I will say.
And those all, I would maintain that those things, all the aforementioned, actually contribute to your longevity. Especially I can attribute to that. And I'll even use like professional rider Valverde. They say, he's 40 and he still got a third in flesh alone or whatever. Right. And that's what he says. Those young guys, they got all this structured training. He just rides his bike, and drinks wine and eats pasta and shit at night. So And I think that's why he's lasted to be 40, because like he just likes doing it. And I'm always wondering about these younger folks that are pros and their structured training when they start at their 15. I wonder how long can they sustain that for like 40, 50 years? We'll wait and see. We don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
Because yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
And I agree. I mean, I think that whole structured thing, I mean, like I said, when I first started, yes, I felt I needed structure to kind of help me figure out, just to get a basis of what's the right thing to do. When should you recover? When should you push hard? When should you taper? Things like that. But now I've gotten to the point in my life where I just want to enjoy the ride. I want to go out and do what my body feels is right. And the same thing as food. You know, I'm not going to calorie count, or like you said, you know, how many grams of carbs or how many grams of protein. I know what my body needs. I know what it wants. And I just go by what I feel is the right thing and just enjoy life. You know, I tried that for a while where I, you know, try to do cleaner eating and cut out certain foods and things. And well, no, I wasn't happy. I wanted to go out with friends and drink that beer. And I wanted to have that glass of wine and dinner. So I figured, you know what, at this point in time, if I'm in it for, like you said, for a lifetime, I'm just going to do what makes me happy. And I know what my body can handle by now.
True. I love to hear that. That's kind of the way I've been rolling. And, you know, also I pick my battles. Like you said, some days I get up and Saturday I got up, was going to go to French Creek, and I had a sciatic issue and I just wasn't feeling it. And that's so rare for me. You know, usually I'm doing 20 races a year prior to COVID. And, you know, I'll go no matter what. I could have been up late drinking a lot of beer and I'll still get up at 5 and go to the race.
Right.
And so anyway, yeah, for sure. So, you know, I was going to ask you about mindset in endurance racing. And like you said, we all have those moments when like the truck's going down and it's windy and rainy and you're like, what am I doing?
Yes.
But you know, you've already given us kind of an insight to your mindset just now about how you approach this whole thing. And I like that a lot. Is there any other particular things that you do to prepare yourself mentally to get through these events, other than just like, I'm going to have fun, I'm enjoying this. When I quit enjoying it, I may not do it anymore. It's that simple. But is there anything else that you do that's going on in the back of Jess's mind?
No, you just said the line perfectly. Go out and enjoy it and just have a good time. And that's what I just tell myself every time. You know, I'm here to enjoy the ride. I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to push myself as far as my body will allow me to push. And well, when I can't push it anymore, then I find another alternative. But I feel like doing something like this is, you know, it's my escape. I'm not at work. I'm not cleaning the house. I'm not doing yard chores. I'm doing something that I truly, truly enjoy, ride my bike. So I'm just going to keep that. That's what I tell myself in the back of my mind. I could be doing something else that I may not want to be doing. Rather be riding my bike.
So that's a great point. I always think that when I'm on the bike, the longer I'm on the bike, I don't think about anything else. That obviously, you know, there's certain things you think about, like, I can't wait to drink the beer. And to be honest with you, the best I feel, and I tell everybody this, the best I feel on any given day is after my long ride and I sit down and I have a couple of beers. You know, I know like some guys, you know, are quick with the protein mix and they got all this formula, like Bob Eichlin. He's in, you know, mountain biker, extreme and motocross guy. That guy, nobody beats Bob, right?
No, they don't.
But I know as soon as he's done his ride, he's already got his whole entourage of, you know, protein and all the drinks and I'm like, just give me a beer. And that's probably why I'm always at the end of the pack somewhere. But all that being said, that's the best I feel all day, all flipping day. And then it feels so good that I can't wait for tomorrow so I can have that same feeling again. Go ride. And, you know, part of it is, again, when I'm riding, like, you're not thinking about anything else. So the longer you're on the bike, it's almost like the ultimate meditation or therapy, because nothing else enters into your mind. And if there are things bothering you, like lingering from work or life or whatever, catching up to you a little bit after a long race or a long ride. You go into it with those things kind of in the back of your head. And then at the end of the long ride, all of a sudden they're like, oh, that's not that important. I need to get my beer. That's more important.
I mean, goodness, you just said everything I completely agree with, and kind of my mantra for riding. You're right. I always think to myself, even a bad day on the bike is still better than no day on the bike. And yes, no matter what's going on in life, you can just pedal it out and forget about it for a while. And it's those hours in my life that I can turn off my phone and say, no one can contact me. No one can reach me. I'm just out enjoying the ride, whether it be mountain, whether it be road, whether it be gravel, whatever it is, wherever you are, it's still, the scenery is beautiful. The ride is amazing. You're with friends, you're seeing people, or if you're out on a solo ride, you're just letting your mind relax for a while. Yeah. It's just those moments in life.
About the scenery part that's interesting is, sometimes we go all over and travel, and then we ride, and we're just amazed at it. And whenever I'm there, or whenever I'm at a place riding around and traveling, I always think, do the people that live there get out into these woods like on a regular basis? Because they should. And so then I feel that obligation to myself. I live here in Mount Gretna, for Christ's sake. I'm going to get out and get into the woods every day. That's why the hell I live here. And so biking's the best way to do that, because I can cover the most ground.
Yes. And
you get my point. So I also think of that every day. It's like, man, this is where you live. Go out and check the woods out. Roam around and see what's going on because you live here.
Or I think about it every day too. The things we can see on a bike that no one else gets to see. The animals or nature, or just like some really cool sight you come across that you're like, wow, I wouldn't get to see that if I wasn't out riding my bike today. And the people who are just like sitting at home watching TV or something, like they're not seeing all these cool things and these really awesome experiences. It wouldn't be possible if we weren't out there riding.
So true. All good. And it also disconnects you from, we already talked about it, why we do it, but it disconnects you also from that infrastructure of TV,
Correct.
Phone and stuff. Yeah. And it's good to get disconnected.
Yes, it is.
So, we already talked about nutrition, and you don't dwell upon whether, you can do 100 grams an hour or whatever. I always watch, I'm a disciple of trainerroad.com and those guys. Right. And to the obsession and a lot of things they're talking about, there's Nate and Jonathan, they're so diligent. And I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing that. Yeah, I understand why they're doing it, but I'm not doing that. So a quick word on a couple of things. So this I came across, and it's and unlike Lance Armstrong, I don't own any of this company, but Liquid IV, and it's like a super hydrator. It's basically like Gatorade on steroids. And it kind of tastes like Gatorade, but it's an electrolyte thing. But there's also like 10 or 12 grams of carbs in there. So but anyway, I thought I'd mention that because I've been getting like super results with this Liquid IV.
Okay.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, when it comes to, gels and or chews, I really am getting into like the goo products specifically because they have the BCAAs, the branch chain amino acids. So, and I know you don't focus on stuff like that necessarily, but have you had any thoughts about, hydration and about branch chain amino acids?
I have not. I admit I'm just a general Gatorade fan. I know a lot of people don't agree with it. They'll say it's too sugary, things like that. But you know what? That's what's worked for me for years. It comes in a powder. It's easy to mix. It's inexpensive. So Gatorade seems to be my thing. When it comes to nutrition, I actually am I like the chews, but I'm a Honey Stinger chew fan. Honey Stinger is the one brand that seems to work for me best. I like flavors. I don't know if they have the branched chain amino acids in it. I'm not sure, but that's kind of the route I go. And then, in longer events, sometimes you just need regular food, chips, pretzels, peanut butter sandwiches, things like that.
These guys on the Jira right now, they always pull out the team-made rice cakes, wrapped in aluminum foil. And that always looks so good to me. And I still have yet to actually, make a rice cake, make a tray of rice cakes. Have you? Does that look interesting to you, or you're just going to do a Cliff Bar? Maybe? I'm
just going to do a Cliff Bar. It's easy. It comes in a package. You open it, problem solved. Easy to put in your back pocket.
You win a few more races, and maybe Saucony will give you a soigné and that they can prepare the rice cakes for you.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. And I will say I've tried in the past to make my own sports bars. You can find those recipes where you use whatever's in them.
Oatmeal.
Yeah. And they're gooey, they're gross. You got to wrap them in aluminum foil. You try and open them. They get all over your gloves and they're all slimy. I just like the pre-made stuff that comes in a package.
Do you like gels?
No, I don't like gels. Gels to me are gross and nope, I just can't do gels. Just a personal preference.
All right, so there you have it. We've talked about mindset for endurance. We've talked about your training during the week before it, and then we talked about nutrition. You've made everything very not complicated, which is cool, because that's something you can live with for about 30 or 40 years doing like that. I mean, we all would agree with that, and you certainly get great results. So good stuff.
Yeah. No, I like the good stuff. Like you said, uncomplicated. That's the way I look at it. You want, to me, as you said also, Bill, this is something you want to do for the rest of your life. You want to be able to just get up and ride, get up and go, enjoy the ride, look forward to what's at the finish line. So keeping it simple, uncomplicated, and real life is, in my mind, the way to do it.
True story. I think the more that you actually enjoy the whole process, that's more sustainable. And we've all seen that. And there was always, when I was like in my 50s, I would see guys in their late 60s thinking, man, that's amazing. And that they're still doing that. And so now I'm in my 60s, and so I see guys in their 70s still doing it and still kicking my butt. And I think, I've got something to aspire to.
Exactly.
It's like moving up to the next age group. It's always it's never gets old, so to speak, unintended.
Right. Well, then you are an inspiration to people like me, because like you said, you're still there doing it. You're having a good time. You're getting out and riding. You're racing and you're doing well. So, you are then the next level that someone like me will strive to get to and still enjoying it.
Good stuff. It has been said that the older you get, the only reason why you really do this is so you can drink massive amounts of beer. I have no way to refute that at this point in my life, nor do I want to. So I wish you the best of luck. When are you heading out for this weekend?
Thursday afternoonish sometime. Start the drive to be there by race start on Saturday morning.
And you going to do any loosening up, warming up on Friday of any sort, or are you just going to go cold turkey right into it?
Usually just cold turkey right into it. I mean, I typically don't ride the day before a race because I found that I like to just rest and relax that day. And I'm usually so busy getting ready and packing and driving and things. Road this past weekend, we'll probably ride a couple days this week to loosen things up because things are still feeling pretty stiff after Crush the Commonwealth. And, just kind of see how it goes. But once again, not following a schedule. I'm not doing like, hey, I should be doing this much riding these days. Whatever my body feels like this week.
Good stuff. I wish you the best of luck. And if you need anything from Lupine, of course, that goes without saying, we're there for you.
I know you're there for me. I mean, I can't say enough about how awesome Lupine lights are for these races. They make it through no matter what the conditions, no matter, rain, sleet, heat, dust, everything. They work great, comfortable, easy to use. I can't say enough about how wonderful they are for both endurance riding and just night riding in general.
Yeah, cool. Can we look at your helmet one more time, please?
Yes.
I love that.
Here. Oh, and actually, hold on, Bill. I'm going to show you because I even have, so this is my main rig, and then I have my backup one also. So this is the old Pico. Yeah, talk about like a throwback, right?
I forgot that you had that one.
Uh-huh.
It may be maybe one of less than 5 in North America total.
I know.
And still
addicted.
Operating, the only one I've seen recently.
Still operating. I mean, I love it. I mean, I'm addicted to the color, so it's perfect. But so I have, and I mean, this is, I wanted to upgrade, newer light, but this one still works fine. But now I have my main rig, like I said, with my battery pack in my back pocket. But then I still have my old Pico as my backup, just in case. Mm-hmm.
And I would say that Pico is probably 8 years old or 7.
Maybe even older than that, because I'm trying to think. I can't think of when I did my first 24-hour race with this.
Maybe 9 years.
Maybe 9. Uh-huh. I mean,
12.
I'm going to throw out a name, and I'm going to say this is a throwback to, I got this from Robbie Lichtenwaldner.
Oh, wow.
So whenever he, yeah. So I don't know, calculate right. That.
Yeah. We just repaired one of his Bettys that he's had since about 2011. I was just talking to him. So yeah, cool. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Vegan Rob.
Exactly. Yep. But so once again, this is the main one that will get me through the race. And then always nice to have a backup. You never know. So I've got my old guy there to just be there just in case.
Great stuff. Thanks for talking with us today. I really appreciate it. And would love to do a follow-up with you at some point to see how the season went. Maybe we can get together again later in the fall when this is done.
Certainly.
We just signed up. We're going to do the Plenty of 90. We're going to do the Unpaved 90.
Okay.
So I'm going to start focusing on that. That's about the only endurance event that I've got coming up.
Right.
But yeah, for sure. I got to get to one of these 24-hour races, with the whole company van and everything, for sure. I've been neglectful in that area.
Well, they're just not out there as much as they used to be. I mean, you brought up Seven Springs. That was Almuchi. Those used to be local. Now there's not really anything in this area, so it's tough. You really have to travel to get to them now.
I should have brought it in, and out in the car I have a Canaan 24-hour from 1996 Frisbee. That's glow in the dark. It's a regular whammo. It's the real deal. And of course, Night Rider was the light of choice then. It was one of the few lights that you could get, actually.
Right.
Back in the day. All heavy, like nickel cadmium and almost lead acid batteries.
Right.
And like 400 lumens.
Exactly. And like you said, like that was the thing then. You were like, whoa, 400 lumens. This is great. Now, little do you know what has come along.
Yeah, I think actually when they finally get the new chips in from Cree, they're down in South Carolina. That's who makes all the chips for Lupine lights. I think it'll be 2200 this year.
Right.
And more efficient. So less battery life, more runtime.
Yes.
But still, that model that you have in particular is really good for a couple of reasons. One is heat management is way better. It won't, not that you need it because you're not running on high very often.
Right, exactly.
But if you do have to run on high, that'll last closer to 45 minutes or maybe longer. Is that depending on ambient temperature and airflow?
Exactly.
And so yeah, that's a good feature. Do you use the diffused light much, like when you're around camp or at stops?
I don't. No, because usually around camp, like if it's a 24-hour race, there's lighting at the pit that I have. I have some like Christmas lights hung up just for ambient lighting, and I don't know, to give a little atmosphere and make it look nice. So I really don't use the diffused lighting. I really just use the lighting for riding. And, like you said, very rarely do I use it on high because I'm going more for, I don't want to have to change the battery as often as possible. So I'll keep it at a lower setting and hopefully only use, I have 2 battery packs and I have the little guy also as backup just in case. But, I don't want to have to change out battery often. So I'll typically keep it at a lower setting and not use the high setting very often. But no, usually don't use the ambient light much because, like I said, there's enough other ambient lighting around.
Got it. So how do you, sorry, we're having a sound issue here.
That's okay.
How do you, charge your phone or your Garmin during these 24-hour events?
So the Garmin that I use will last for, I believe, 36 hours is its longest run time.
Do you have a Roam or no?
I'm actually going to say all of a sudden the name is escaping me of what I have. Brighton is what I have, I believe.
Okay.
And now see, I'm going to say I don't know the answer to that 100%.
So you don't carry a phone?
No, I don't carry a phone. I use just a cycling computer, and that will last the whole time. For Crush the Commonwealth, though, I did need a little bit something extra. So I had like an external battery charger that I plugged it into. So I don't need to recharge during a 24-hour race. And then the lights, I actually, there's an inverter on the camper van that my husband and I have. So we'll keep our spare light batteries plugged in and use the inverter to charge them as we need.
So for Crush the Commonwealth, and we've had similar, like I was just consulting with a guy named Granger Pierce. He's going to do Unbound and he's going to do the 365 mile gravel ride. So he's going to leave from Friday afternoon till Sunday. And so he's got to charge his Garmin all the time and he'll need a light, obviously.
Right.
So we make a splitter product. And this might come in handy, especially for another situation like Crush the Commonwealth. So you put the battery on your top tube, strap it on, and it splits, and one runs your light. And the other one runs your Garmin or your iPhone.
Oh, nice.
It's USB micro, USB-C, USB Apple.
Right.
So on Crush the Commonwealth, you could have killed 2 birds maybe. Would that seem reasonable?
That does seem reasonable.
One Lupine battery.
Yeah, because like I said, the charger I used was just, I'll admit it was, like from Best Buy or somewhere, just some sort of external battery pack. But I only needed it for my cycling computer for the Brighton. Because what I ended up doing, since I had both of my battery packs with me, and the setting I had on my light was, I had it at the one where 680 lumen is your medium setting. And that was enough to get me, I could use 2 battery packs to get me through the overnight ride. And then knowing I'd be finishing on Saturday afternoon and wouldn't need any additional light, to me, that got me through perfect.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Great talking.
Well, thank you for talking.
No, it was very inspirational. It's I'm going out and doing some miles now. So I love talking to people when they're so into doing miles. It just rubs off. And I'm like, I got to go get my miles in today. 12 hours. Oh my God. And I've been really averaging less than that. Like it's pissing me off. And you know how it goes.
Right. Well, now, like you said, you've got PA Unpaved to look forward to. That's a great ride.
Which is another point before we leave you. So a lot of people say, well, why do you race? Because you just got done telling us how much you just enjoy the whole aspect of training and riding and drinking beer. So why the heck do you even bother to interrupt all that with racing? And so the answer is that I get a bit comfortable and lazy, like I guess it's human nature. So if I have certain races in front of me and goals, then I always got in the back of my mind, this isn't, sixth floor McKean. You're just not going to get up tomorrow and start throwing darts when you got a final. So you're going to get up and actually do something, and you're going to be much happier because of it at day's end. So there's my take on why I like to race, even though I never win or anything. But I like having that out there. One of these days I'm going to win when there's only like one person in the category.
Hey, if it's what it takes sometimes, then that's what it is.
I always used to win when I hit 45, and I was in big races, Michaud and stuff. And there was like 4 other people that were 45 at that point in time. And of course I won that year a lot. And then when I hit 55 for the bar, I won a couple of races, and I was like, this is great. So I was kind of waiting for 65, which is stupid before all the fast guys moved up. But yeah.
Right.
All right. All right. Great stuff. Thanks for talking with us, and enjoy this weekend for sure.
All right. Thanks, Bill. And I'll follow up with you when I get back.
All right. Take care.
All right. You too. Bye.
Peace. Yeah, dude, I'm so dyslexic.
What if she starts and we're like just looking like a bunch of goons?
I know. Yeah, well, my head's crooked, man. I got to get it.
You said that the last time we did a Zoom. Said something, and then your hat was crooked too.
And my hat, fucking freaking over my hat. Is that level? No.
Who cares?
Because
if you were that worried about presentation, you'd be wearing a suit and slicked back hair right now. Who cares? Recorded us. I always have to cut that off because as soon as you start, it records.